The modern road bike has evolved and changed so much beyond recognition, but one thing that hasn't changed are the thin metal spokes used to lace a rim to a hub. But there is another way, and they look like these. But are they actually any good? Well, today in this video we'll find out. So through a series of tests for speed, aerodynamics, handling, stiffness, price and weight, we'll find out whether these wheels perform as well as they look, or if you're better sticking with a conventional wheel set like these. So these are the brand new Velo Elite 6 carbon wheels, and they are molded as one piece from carbon fiber with 6 bladed spokes and a 50mm deep rim, and measure 21mm internally with a hooked rim, and they are tubeless compatible, or you run inner tubes if you prefer. The company says the wheels are designed for both time trials and triathlons, as well as road cycling, and that the wheel set has been optimised to minimise the coefficient of drag by reducing the spoke's frontal surface area and mimicking the ideal teardrop shape. It's worth adding that the wheels fall foul of the UCI rules. It stipulates all wheels must have at least 16 spokes. Luckily for the UCI, I'm no professional, so I ride these wheels here in the real world. And the weight on my scales is 1,611 grams, and they cost $1,300. And flying the flag for conventional wheels are these, the brand new HED Vanquish 45 Pro, the latest wheel set from the American company founded by the late great Steve HED. And when it comes to wheel aerodynamics, Steve HED was a pioneer. So these are the company's latest wheels, and wider than the previous ones, from 21 up to 22.4mm internal rim width. So not a massive difference, and still not quite as progressive as Envy and Zip and others, but definitely heading in the right direction. The rims are made in America with a lovely clean finish that comes straight out of the mold, so no finishing required. Sappham CX-Ray Aero bladed spokes, their own machined aluminium hub shells, external nipples are easy maintenance, and the rims are hooked as well, so compatible with inner tubes and clincher tyres, or tubeless if you prefer. The HED wheels retail for $2,600, twice the price of the Elite wheels, so are they twice the performance? Let's do some testing and find out. Now, upgrading wheels is the best way to unleash more performance from your road bike, and it's the same when using Squarespace to upgrade your website to all-in-one platform that makes building a website super easy. And trust me guys, building a website with Squarespace couldn't be any simpler. You can either choose from a massive library of templates, and there are some cool templates there to choose from, then customize that template, the color, the style, add tools and plugins to suit your very purpose, or use AI to do all the hard work for you. Simply give it some information and a custom website is generated for you. So if you need an e-commerce solution to sell cool bike products, a gallery to share your photos with the world, start blogging, running a newsletter, running classes, whatever it is, with Squarespace, there is a solution for you. And you can start right now with a free trial using the link down below in the description. And if you enjoy it, then 10% of your first purchase of a domain or website with my code on screen right now. Okay, back to the wheel testing. So first up, some aero testing. And this road here is nice and flat and long enough to do 1 kilometer out and back runs. And I'll keep going up and down, get some good data, and I ride at 30 kilometers per hour and maintain the same position as best I can, and see what the power requirement of the different wheel sets is. And for the aero testing, I'm super excited to be using this, the Aero sensor. So a British company have developed a real-time CDA measuring device, which is this device here. Basically gives you a wind tunnel for the real world. Now, it has to be said, doing out and back testing is pretty tedious. So while I do this, let's jump ahead and we'll talk about ride and handling on a test loop to put the wheels through their paces. So I'm riding the same route on both wheels. It's a route I know really well. I use for testing all the bikes here, just ride bikes. And straight away, just riding along at a steady speed, these wheels do feel strange, especially the front wheel. There's a sort of vagueness through the front end. That's most unusual. Hard to put into words how it feels. And it feels unlike any other wheel sets I've ever tested. I should add I have been riding these wheels for the last 5 weeks on my local roads, set up tubeless before testing today. So I've had plenty of time on them and plenty of miles on them on roads I know really well, and a variety of surfaces and conditions. And that sort of wibbly wobbly vagueness on the front is so unusual and not that nice, if I'm honest. And that lack of lateral stiffness is something you really feel through the corners and sprinting, or just when shaking the handlebars, which is not something you normally do, but my goodness me, there's so much flex there. That is alarming, quite shocking really. But after a while, you keep riding the wheels and don't do anything erratic like that, you kind of get used to it. And if you ride in a sort of smooth way with straight flat roads and no sharp corners, or you're not sprinting up the climbs, they're not so bad. And it's most wheels for the front wheel. The rear wheel feels okay, you can't really feel like doing anything untoward. It's just that front wheel. So the criterion racing, no, I would not use them, would not recommend them. With sharp, fast corners, erratic, sudden direction changes, a big range of speeds. But for time trialing, for flat, fast riding, yeah, I think these would be an interesting option. And compliance is pretty good. I thought they'd be awful. I thought it'd be really stiff, really harsh and horrible on my local roads, but they're not that bad. I mean, they're not silky smooth like the HED wheels we'll talk about in a moment, but they're not awful. You can totally manage them on rough roads. The 30mm wide tyres at low pressures clearly helps. But yeah, that's something that really surprised me about the wheels. Right, after a not so speedy wheel change, let's see how these new HED wheels perform. And straight away, at this low speed, the wheels feel so much nicer, it has to be said, and they feel normal. And by that I mean they feel similar to many other carbon wheels I've been riding. And when I move the handlebar around, and when I do my restaurant road test, yeah, the front wheel much stiffer, much more lateral stiffness there than those Elites. The feedback through the front end is now sharp and precise and crisp and direct. That vagueness, that wallowiness are gone. And through the corners they feel so much better. Sprinting out of the saddle, they feel better. Doing anything dynamic on the bike, they just perform so much more appropriately. And although the weight on the scale between both wheels is about the same, these actually feel lighter through the handlebars and through the front end. It feels like a lighter wheel set. And in blustery conditions, not today, but the other day when I went out, they're much calmer, much easier to handle when you've got crosswinds coming through junctions and hedgerows. And out of saddle, yeah, the front wheel just feels like it's doing what you want from a front wheel. And most of my differences in the testing today have been how that front wheel has impacted the steering and the handling through the handlebars and all that feedback you get. So maybe metal spokes do work after all. And of course, the final test is a Freehub sound check. Let's see how they compare. Ready? Yeah, pretty loud. Let me know down below if you prefer loud or quiet Freehubs. And next up, the heads. Ready? Not as loud, more refined, but still noisy. So I think the Elites are the loudest wheel. These are quieter, but still both pretty loud. Right, let's wrap up this comparison. Which are the best carbon wheels? Which should you buy? So firstly, the results from that Aero testing, which was really interesting. Now, I'm not claiming it's the most scientific testing, but I tried to do as much as I could to remove all the variables. I did testing on 2 different days and 6 runs out and back on both sets of wheels riding in the same position. I'll put the results on screen now. So as you can see, I rode at the same average speed on both sets of wheels, and on each run, each day, the HED wheels offered lower drag than the Elite wheels by 10 watts. So that's either a small margin or a massive margin depending on your point of view. So these wheels clearly offer lower drag, require less power to ride at that same average speed as these wheels here, which really surprised me. I thought these wheels would be more aero given the claims and how they look, but no, the old-fashioned style wheel here was more aero. So taking that aero testing along with the improvement in ride quality and general handling of these wheels, for me, I think the HED wheels win this shootout. But these are more expensive than these Elite wheels, and I do like the way they look. My inner teenager loves how these wheels look, but I do fear the carbon spoke look has been cheapened by some of the really cheap bikes you can buy with plastic spokes, which don't make these look as high-tech as they did when I was a teenager back in the 90s, lusting after a pair of Spinergies and spin wheels for my mountain bike. So as amazing as they look, for me, these HED wheels are the ones to choose. And I have been really impressed with the ride quality. I kept riding them after that testing. They do ride extremely well. I love the fact they're made in the USA. We have nice bladed spokes, really nice hubs. There's not a super long-term test, but I have been testing them for the last few months, and reliability and durability has been fantastic. Spoke tension has remained even and true. So a nice, reliable, durable set of wheels that do compare well to other options on the market these days. But sadly, they are going back, as are the Elite wheels, because neither company sponsored this video because it was sponsored by Squarespace. So if you need a new website, check out the link down below in the description. I'll put links to both websites for HED and Elite down there as well if you want to find out more. But do let me know what you think of these wheels, the comparison, by dropping a comment down below. And that's all for today, really. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again very soon.